better chance of happening? Lane Hudson makes Team USA for the Olympic team, or Connor Bedard makes Team Canada?
Ooh, okay. This is a really good one.
Because they're loaded on defense in the U.S.
That's the thing.
Like, they are loaded.
I mean, it is not an easy team to make.
No, it's not. Like, you know Quinn Hughes is on it. You know McAvoy's on it already. Slavin's going to be there. Faber's going to be there. I think Adam Fox will still make the team. I think.
Yep.
Werenski's on the team for sure. So there's 6 guys right there who I believe will be playing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their depth chart. You're right. Like it's a tough.
They're loaded.
Like
now Canada's loaded too, so it's not like Connor Bedard is going to be cakewalking his way into a spot.
They had Faber, Fox, Hannafin, McAvoy, Sanderson, Slavin, and Werenski on their 4 nations teams.
I didn't even mention Sanderson and Hannafin.
That's 2, 4. That's 7 guys. So who's coming off to get him on? Right is the question.
That's the issue.
Maybe Faber? I don't know.
Well, I don't think so, man.
Faber
and Slavin were phenomenal as a pairing. Faber's really good. And he's
maybe
a right shot
Hannafin,
defenseman.
Maybe Hannafin? I don't know.
That would be the one.
Yeah.
For me. And the thing is, Sanderson and Hudson, they have a similar style of play.
Maybe he knocks out Sanderson.
That's the question. Like, if he continues to play, although Sanderson's really good, man.
Yeah, we saw it
Jake
against the Leafs,
Sanderson
right?
is really good. Plays a ton of minutes. He's gaining confidence every single year. I'm going to say Hudson is more likely to make USA than Bedard, and I think it's more about Bedard. I don't sense he's that close. I think Chicago's been so bad for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's not helped him. He's not had a ton of support. Not a big guy, right? Not a big guy. Not a guy that I think at this point in his career would allow John Cooper, the head coach, to feel comfortable putting him in a position that is not conventional to him.
Yeah.
In other words, he is a goal scorer, like a pure goal scorer, offensive threat. That he's not doing that on this team. Like that's McDavid's role. That's McKinnon's role, right? That's going to be Marner's role, and Sid's still going to play a role in that. If Bedard's on this team, you're looking at like a 12th or 13th forward.
Yes.
Like, can you play 8 to 10 minutes and be a checking role? He can't do that.
I was going to say, that's not the role for him.
That's not the role for him. So I think it's more likely Hudson's on Team USA than Connor Bedard's on Team Canada.
I think you're right. I think the one thing about Bedard that I think you have to keep in mind, though, because this is a Hockey Canada production, and he's been good to Hockey Canada. They have a lot of time for him, as evidenced by the fact they're inviting him out to the orientation camp.
Mm-hmm.
So that sometimes gets underplayed. Like, Hockey Canada's loyalties, mean a lot, especially on those borderline picks, like those last few guys on the roster, the guys who may or may not make it, the guys who end up making it are the guys who've done something for Hockey Canada. And this guy's, he's won a World Junior essentially single-handedly.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, for Hockey Canada.
Right.
So
and was at the World Championships last year. Did not partake this year, which
Yeah.
I found, somewhat interesting. But, yeah, no, I hear you. And he is a big part of their future still. And there could be an element of that experience. But this is the Olympic Games,
That's
man.
the thing. It's hard to justify just throwing a guy on the roster for his experience.
You can't do it for the Olympics.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah. You can do it for the World Championships.
Yeah.
You can do it maybe for the 4 Nations. You could have done it. They didn't, but maybe you could have. But the Olympic Games, I don't think you can play like that.
Yeah, the spots are so precious. And to your point, I do think you're right. Like, it would come down to, one of the last forward, essentially. And for that guy, you'd probably want more of a role player, established role player, grinder guy. If you're going that direction, if that's what you,
I think that's smart. Yeah, I think, and I think that's the way Hockey Canada has generally operated over the years.
Yeah,
give me a veteran guy who I can trust in a lot of different situations.
I'll tell you what, though, I would love to see Connor Bedard playing among star players.
Because
you don't get to see it when he's playing with the Blackhawks.
That's very, very, very true. And that would have been that was the dream. Like, when he was coming out a couple of years ago. We have talked about it on this show, like the idea of 2026, he gets there and plays maybe a prominent role.
Yeah.
Like, he's a right winger with McDavid or something like that, and McDavid's dishing pucks to him, but it just doesn't seem even remotely close to that happening.
Unless he comes storming out of the gates.
And that's maybe he had a great offseason, a long offseason. He's ready to go year 3, and that's clearly the projection of his career, the trajectory of his career. He didn't hit the ground running like McDavid did, like Sid did, like others have done. This has been it's going to be a slower climb for him, but maybe he does break loose. But in order for that to happen, he's got to have an exceptional October, November, December.
Yeah,
like top 5 in the league in points type exception. I think. Like, just be an absolute dominant force.
Yeah.
Or are they going to go with somebody else? All right. Better chance of happening this year. Auston Matthews scores less than 40 goals, or Auston Matthews scores more than 60 goals.
Oh, I think the better chance is the under there. Like the low end, because we don't know what his health situation is, right? Like the idea that he's going to be fully healthy again is a big question mark.
Yeah.
And
he's got to prove that. Like, he'll say it
it
when he arrives. I'm sure he will. Everyone says, I had a great offseason, feeling great. But I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. And then on top of that, even if he came in fully healthy, I have a hard time believing that the absence of Mitch Marner is not going to hurt him to some degree as a producer of goals, because Marner's been instrumental in his production.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you do the math. Like, I mean, I've probably said this stat too much, but Marner assisted on 50% of his goals since Babcock left town, and 60-some% of his playoff goals.
Do the math.
Do the math.
Do the math.
I mean, I'm not saying that other people can't assist on his goals. I'm not saying Matthews can't create a lot of goals for himself.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no denying that there's going to be an adjustment period where the guy who has been his number one servicer, feeder, T-man is not there anymore.
Yeah, I think the play is the under as well. I think it's more likely it's less than 40. We just saw it. Now, if I had to make a bet, I think he chases down 50 this year. He's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But also, I made this argument. It's not even really an argument. It's more factual about just the history of the sport. Most players, especially like the elite players, the guys who put up ridiculous statistics, they do that their first 6, 7, 8 years in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And then it slowly falls off.
Yeah.
And I said it last year about McDavid. I'm like, I don't think he's ever going to score 64 goals again. I don't think he's ever going to get 160 points again. That's not the way it goes. Gretzky, his first 7, 8 years was unbelievable, and then it kind of dropped. Mario Lemieux, that's just the way it goes. Guys get 10 years into their career. Doesn't mean they're still not great. It means they usually focus on different areas of their game. They've kind of done it all, seen it all. They've chased points. They've been in that position where they're on their toes every single night when they're 22 and 23, and they almost can't wait. They're salivating to play a bad team because it could be points night. I think as players mature, they don't look at the game the same way.
Yeah.
And I think Matthews has to fall in line in this. I think he could still be, and I think he should still be known as the best goal scorer in the game and the best goal scorer in the world. I still believe he owns that title and is worthy of still owning that title. But that doesn't guarantee you're actually going to score the most goals every single season. It did for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was the lock. He was going to win the Rocket every single year.
Felt that way.
It felt that way, and he did in many ways.
Yeah.
But I do think it's reasonable to expect that he's going to hover more around 40 for the rest of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And there'll be a couple of years where he gets to 52, 54, 55. That would not shock me at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened this year. If he hit 50, 52, 53 goals, I would not be surprised at all. But 60 plus, he's done that twice. It's so tough to score 60.
It is.
Ovechkin did it once. Stamkos did it once.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they're the only two guys, and then McDavid did it, and obviously Austin's done it a couple of times. Very few guys in the history of the game have ever done it.
Yeah, really short list.
Yeah, so to expect Matthews to do it a third time without Marner at this stage in his career, I think it's asking way too much.
And I also think he knows and we know that no one's impressed by it. Whether he gets 40, 50, or 60, it's going to be about what do you do in round 1, round 2. Hopefully, hey, how about round 3 for a change?
Yeah, let's
and maybe even round 4 one day.
Right.
But for a guy who's got 4 playoff goals in his most recent 18 playoff games, I think it is, that's where the production needs to be bumped up.
That's where he's got to prove he's the best goal scorer. Yes exactly. Because there is a distinction to be made here. In the regular season, he's the best goal scorer.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, you can't shine a light to Draisaitl or Mikko Rantanen or there's a number of guys.
Not a small sample
Braden
size anymore.
Point.
It's 50 plus playoff games career. I mean,
yeah,
it's
he scores as if he's a 15 to 20 goal scorer.
Yeah,
instead of a 50 plus guy.
At times he does. You're right.
Yeah,
he's had a couple of nice series, but not enough.
Yeah, that's where it's got to change. And you're right. Ultimately, that's where he is in his career now. And that's you look at Ovechkin, who got one. You look at a guy like Mike Modano, who got one first overall pick, American superstar, stayed with the same team forever, captain, blah, blah, blah. He got one.
Yeah.
He got it, right? Yzerman always gets used, and understandably so, and that would be great. But Yzerman ended up winning a bunch of Stanley Cups.
With a bunch of other stars.
With a bunch of other superstars, with the highest payroll in the league,
Yeah.
and they had 1 million Hall of Famers come and go. I don't think that's a reasonable, bar to set. It's Ovechkin's career. It's, again, Mike Modano's. You got to get one. That's it now.
Well,
unfortunately,
especially in this town of all towns.
Yeah, no, exactly.
This town
but
of all towns, one
the
would be
hope
enough.
was when they all came up, it's like maybe they can run off 2 or 3 or 4 or something like that.
Hey, Babcock was the guy. Babcock was, comparing them to the Blackhawks, who got 3 in 6 years.
Yeah.
Right? He was the guy saying, doesn't that remind you of that?
That was the hope.
Yeah.
And now it's that is completely left town.
Yeah.
Just find a way to get one.
That's just it.
All right. Well, with that in mind, better chance of happening this year. The Vegas Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup, or the Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup?
Oh, both juicy stories.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the Leafs winning the Stanley Cup is the juiciest of the juicy.
And the most difficult one to actually envision because it's just been so long.
Yeah.
But it can happen.
There are still people living that saw it.
Yes.
I know some of them.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
But yeah,
It can happen.
it has and it can. Will it happen? Look, I mean, I think if you actually had money on this, you'd be crazy not to bet on the Golden Knights.
Yeah, based on their short history, but very successful history.
They've shown an aptitude for figuring it out, right? Even though you worry about the injuries on the back end, obviously.
Petrangelo's huge.
Pietrangelo not
Their
being
goaltending.
available.
I don't think they're like this superpower team.
They're not.
Vegas. They're a very good team. And they've earned the reputation that they have, which is they're uber competitive, top down. They're going to do everything they can to win, and it's been thoroughly impressive to watch them operate. Full credit,
And they've won.
they've won, so they can drop the mic and say no one can come at us. I get it. They're a very good team, but they're not the best roster in the league. Top to
Not right
bottom.
now.
No, they're not.
They gotta
and
make
the
some
Leafs.
changes.
Yeah, the Leafs roster I don't think is much different, like guy to guy. I really don't. But based on history, the choice is probably Vegas.
I mean,
choice is probably Vegas.
well, you're right.
But Eichel gets hurt a lot. Stone gets hurt a lot. What's
I'm
Aiden
with
Hill
you.
going to be?
I mean, and the bottom line is like, if you you can chart the path. If you really want to be as like the optimist and the glass half full and the rose-colored glasses of this past Leaf season, you can make the case. Look, Stolarz doesn't get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They take advantage of the sleepy Panthers in Game 3 and get up 3-0. I mean,
Different world.
They have a chance to win the Stanley Cup. They have a chance to get to a Stanley Cup at the very minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You can believe that when you look at Stolarz and you look at Woll, you can see in their play at its best, albeit with the caveat that they always seem to get hurt at the wrong time, and they both have gotten hurt at very wrong times in big series very recently. You can see Stanley Cup champions in those guys. Like, you can see play that befits a Stanley Cup champion, which is more than you'd be able to say for the Maple Leafs in the Matthews era.
Okay, well, let me skip ahead to that one here. Better chance of happening this year. Anthony Stolarz starts 45-plus games, or Joseph Woll starts 45-plus games.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like this, I think it's, unfortunately, I think it's Joseph. No, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I think it's Joseph Woll.
Yeah.
Like, Stolarz has been in the game longer. He's older, and he's never been able to do it. He hasn't been given the opportunity necessarily, but this year he was given the opportunity.
Oh, yeah. They
And
would have rolled with him.
And the injuries showed up, right?
Yeah.
Not just in the playoffs. He had the high ankle sprain or whatever it was. He was out for 2 months.
Yeah.
And it was a long time. And remember, he returned in Seattle right before the break, and he had an unbelievable season. But I think it's more like Woll stayed healthy all year.
He did.
Like, I think that was this year, yes. Yeah. But I think it's a better sign for what I can predict could happen in the future. And I'm not sure either guy's going to get to 45 starts this year. I wouldn't necessarily put money on that.
I was going to say, they're probably the best money bet is neither gets there.
Neither guy gets there. But if I'm choosing one or the other, I'm going Joseph Woll.
Yeah. I think that's probably the best bet. I think that probably is the best bet, although both of them have. I mean, you probably want to consult a handful of physiotherapists on this and, biomechanics guys.
Pretty deep question.
Because, I mean, like who's more likely to get hurt is essentially what you're asking.
I guess so. I mean, and listen, there could be a performance dip, right, at the same time.
But we really haven't seen that from either guy.
No.
Almost
Like
all of their
Stolarz-
problems have been injury related.
For the most part.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Stolarz was phenomenal. He was very good in the playoffs. He was, and Joseph Woll, he was thrown to the wolves somewhat. Like they held on for dear life in that game 1 against Florida. He gave up a couple of soft goals, but he gets thrown in. You're not like to get thrown into an environment like that.
That's tough.
Very difficult. He was very good in Game 6.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he was great in Game 5 or Game 7, but nobody was.
Nobody was.
Nobody was. But that didn't really come up much because, again, it was more about the no-shows by the best players, which is understandable and definitely deserved in terms of the analysis. But I have been saying for years with this team, like, what maybe their best bet at getting over the top is get to a Game 7 and they just have a goalie that has a miraculous game.
Yeah.
And I understand predicting that is somewhat of a loser's mentality, and it puts a lot of pressure on one guy, but it can happen.
And I think
it has happened before.
And I think both these guys are good enough to be that guy.
Right. Like we're talking a 45-stop shutout, and it's like, I can't believe we got goalie. The other team's like, we just got goalie. What do you want us to do? Got goalie.
I think you're right. That's the path, man. That's the path to real success in this
It might
league
be.
with this team.
It might be. And just basically drag them into uncharted territory. And then tell Matthews and company, all right, you guys got to dance now.